talking about NCD. So agenda for today. First off, we're going to talk about who is NCD, what's a little bit of a background about who they are, what really sets them apart from everybody else. Next, we'll go into availability, where it's going to be at, and then some of the back end side. Then we'll jump into the dental plans. Then we'll go into the vision plan. We'll talk a little bit about commissions on what those plans are going to look like. And then finally, we'll actually go through an enrollment and show you how the enrollment platform looks like. So let's get started. So first off, who is NCD? So first off, NCD, or National Care Dental, they partner with MetLife for everything. So maybe you haven't heard of NCD, but you've probably heard the name MetLife. So a lot of brand recognition with that name. Now, a lot of what NCD tries to do is they don't necessarily try to be the cheapest product that's on the market, but they want to be the most innovative, and they want to do things that a lot of other carriers are just not doing and really help themselves set apart. So um, going into kind of a little bit about that, they kind of put their money where their mouth is and put a lot of effort into actual customer service and taking care of clients. So you'll see on the left side of the screen, they got about 5,800 reviews. I think it's actually above 8,000 now. You can actually see on their website, and they do have 4.9 out of 5 stars. So when clients get into these plans, they like them. They are excited to have them, and they're happy to have them, which you as the broker should be excited about as well, because that means that clients will actually keep the plan and be happy with their purchase, right? So things that they do. First off, 15-second to answer. So if you have any of your clients call in because they have an issue with something, within 15 seconds, they're on the phone with somebody. Not a lot of carriers can kind of boast that. Also, they do up to 10,000 welcome calls every single month. And this is going to lead to better retention because you're going to have somebody who's going to be able to explain their plan to them in depth and really the ins and outs of the plan. So again, they're just very, very happy. All right. On the other side, for you as a broker, you're also going to get top tier agent support. So let's say you have a question and you need to figure something out. I can definitely tell you, I've called into NCD's customer support many, many times, or I guess agent support is a better term. I've called it to them many times and I get through almost immediately. They also do within 30 seconds to answer. And then if you email within under an hour. So again, very, very good about reaching out to agents and making sure they're supported. Every new agent who gets contracted, their local rep in their area will reach out to them, build a relationship, and make sure they have everything they need to be successful, whether it's actual physical copies of brochures, how to use the website, everything start to finish. So again, they put a lot of effort into taking care of their agents. So moving along, where is this available? Everywhere that's dark blue is pretty much where you're going to have all products available. So the majority of the country is going to be in that dark blue, so you have all products there. Light blue, you'll have the majority of products. You just don't get what's called the bright series, which is what I'll kind of show you when I get to the products here in a minute. Anything that's the dark orange, I guess you could say. They only have the bright and then the VSP Vision. If it's tan, it's just the VSP Vision, and if it's gray, there's just nothing available. So again, most states have all the products available. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the back end. So first off, all rates are going to be based off of the location that someone is. Age, gender, medical conditions, none of those are going to apply whatsoever as far as how the rates are determined. It's just going to look at the zip code that someone's in, and then there's a predetermined rate based off that zip code. Primary applicant does need to be 18 years or older. They can have dependents on the plan who are underage as well. Just the person who's the primary has to be 18 or above. And there's also no upper age limit. Not that I know a lot of people who are 100 years old and needing a dental plan, but if you do happen to run into somebody who is on the older side and maybe they can't get into another plan because there's an upper age limit, NCD is a great option because there are no upper age limits. As far as the network, it is the MetLife. It's called the PDP Plus network. So if you do Medicare, that is not prescription drug plan. That's just what it's called. It does say about 400,000 access points. They've been working hard over the last year, and I know this is closer to about 600,000. And access point is just a dentist. So 600,000 dentists essentially across the country who are going to accept this plan. They do really good negotiated rates, which I'll explain a little bit about here in just a few minutes. And then they have a really easy tool to look up different dentists who accept the plan, which I'll also show you here in just a little bit. Lastly, every member who enrolls into an NCD plan, they do get what's called the NWFA, or National Wellness and Fitness Association, which is just going to add extra perks to it. It's similar to somebody who might have like an AARP membership, where they're going to get things like roadside assistance, 24/7 teledoc, help, hearing aid discounts, a lot of different things. And again, I'll show you a big list of them a little bit later, and where you can find which plans include what. But again, those are just a couple things, things like no upper age limit, and all that really kind of help set them apart. All right, so let's jump into the dental portfolio and what the plans are going to look like. So there's 3 different series of plans that you can get. So there's the core plans, the elite plans, and then the bright plans. Now, in these, first off with the elite plans and the bright plans, even though with elite, it looks like there's 3 different plans: the 1,500, the 3,000, and 5,000. The plan benefits within are identical regardless of the plan that you go with. The only difference is the annual max. So a better way to think about it with the elite plans is it's just one plan that you can customize the max. Bright plans, they work the exact same way. All the benefits are the same. There's just 2 different annual maxes that someone can choose from. So that really helps if you start getting overwhelmed and thinking, oh, there's all these different plans that I can choose from. No, there's really just a couple with different customizable features to it. And I'll actually, I'm going to go through the plans, and then I actually have like a little cheat sheet to say, hey, if your client needs these are the best plans for them. So I have a little something for you, and it'll be good to take a screenshot when we get there. So I'll let everybody know so you guys can take a screenshot. So let's start in. We'll go into the core plans first and break down these ones first. So with this, there's the values, the essentials, and the complete. Now, from this page, the complete plan is more than likely the main thing that you're going to focus on, simply because with the value and with the essentials plan, there's other alternatives throughout the portfolio that might make just a little bit more sense for your clients. And you'll find yourself kind of being able to almost scratch these off and go just focus on complete. So the reason I mention that is because, again, there's 8 plans. If you're trying to figure out which of the 8 plans makes the most sense with your client, it's going to be real tough. But if you already know which ones to cancel out, maybe you only have to compare between 2 or 3 plans opposed to the full set of plans. All right, so let's focus on that a complete plan. Whoops. There we go. So let's focus on the complete plan. So first off, you'll see annual max is 10,000. Not a lot of carriers, and by saying not a lot, I don't know if any carriers actually do a $10,000 annual max. You might see some that go up to 5,000, but ultimately they never get to that higher end. So they give a $10,000 max. There's a $100 lifetime deductible. So once that deductible is met, they never have to meet that deductible again. For preventative, 3 cleanings, it's covered at 100%. And so if you do have somebody that likes to get more than 2 a year, this is another great option for them on that side. With these plans, you'll see, as with most dental, it's going to ramp up. The longer someone has the plan, the more the benefits get better. So you'll see things like basic care, it starts at 65%, then year 2, it's 80%, year 3, 90%. Major care starts at 10%, then 50, then 60% in year 3. So while the 10% coverage for something like major care may not be extremely appealing, because this one does really good negotiated rates, that actually goes a little bit further. Now, I'm going to explain negotiated rates here in just a few slides, but I just want everyone to kind of put a pin in that and remember that thought that there's more to the plans. All right. With these, the monthly premiums, you see that they start for that plan at around 78. Just know that that's where they start, right? So they're across the country, depending on your area, you may see higher premiums than that, and that is to be expected if that's the case. So don't be too surprised if you might be a couple dollars more than that. But again, that's really the only one I want to focus on. With the others, I'm going to kind of move on and I'll explain why they aren't so beneficial here in just a little bit. All right, so let's talk about the elite set of plans next. So this is the next series of plans. With these, as you see in the benefits, they're all the same. It doesn't matter which ones you look at, all the major care, preventative care, basic care, it's going to be identical. The only really difference that changes is this annual max. Now, I want you guys to look at this Elite 3000 plan. With this plan, it does a $3,000 annual max, and it does a monthly premium that starts at $59. Now, coming back here, let's say I go back to the Essentials. The Essentials plan has a $2,000 annual max, and it has a $59 starting premium. So if I had to choose what to give my client, I'd much rather give them a plan that does a $3,000 annual max if they can pay the same rate as another plan that only did 2,000, right? So that's why I just generally say, hey, if you're going to focus on something that's kind of the middle tier where they don't need all the bells and whistles, I'm going to be focusing more on my elite plans, and I don't need to worry about my essentials. All right. One thing I did forget to mention with the complete plan, that $10,000 plan, there's one other thing about it that really is going to set it apart is it does cover implants up to $3,000 every single year, where you might have plans that do $3,000 in a lifetime. This one will do $3,000 every single year. So if you do have somebody that needs implants and maybe they can't afford to spend tens of thousands of dollars all at once and they can do it over the couple years, every year they can get a $3,000 payment for those implants. So again, that complete plan is going to be the flagship plan for NCD and really is the one that just does all the bells and whistles. So not everyone needs that. Again, if they don't need that, they're probably going to be more focusing on your elite plans, which are on the screen now, which are kind of your middle tier plans, with the more affordable rates, if you will. All right, last set of plans I'll take us through is the Bright plans. The Bright plans are really just focused on your preventative care, and that's about it. As you'll see with major care, it starts at 10% and only goes up to 20%. So it really doesn't get ever higher than 20%. So if somebody is not really worried about getting a lot of major work done, but are looking for more preventative, your Bright plans are going to be that option. Now, let's kind of circle back to the one thing. So coming back to the core, and again, how you don't need these plans. With the value plan, $750 max, and then it does a monthly premium that starts at $35. Well, my Bright plans do either $1,000 or a $1,500 max, so almost like literally double with the $1,500, and the starting premiums are $29 and $34. So these are going to be lower premiums or about the same, but just with a higher annual max and more coverage overall for your client. So if I had to choose something that's on the preventative side, I'm going to more focus on my Bright plans and not so much on this core plan. Okay. All right. So that, again, in a nutshell, is your portfolio of different plans. I could read through every percentage, but I don't think you guys necessarily need me to do that. You're all agents and know what you're doing here, so you guys know that. But I do like to spend some time on this screen here. And so this is the one that's going to be kind of your cheat sheet to let you know what are the best plans and for whom are those plans available for and how should I position it. So this is a great one to take a screenshot of if you haven't already. You're going to see, hey, if they're prioritizing preventative care, these are the plans that you can really kind of focus on. If you're doing immediate basic needs, these are the ones. If upcoming major work, these are the plans. If they're considering dental implants or budget conscious or care for the whole family, right? So based off of the situation that you have, it's going to kind of give you a quick run through of which ones you can really focus on. So again, I'm not going to read through every single line of text here, but if you haven't taken a screenshot, I'll leave it up there for just another second and let you do that because I do think it's a great thing to have. All right. So moving along, let's talk about the MetLife network. So um, negotiated rates. I talked about that earlier, and this is where I'm going to circle back around to it. So the NCD with MetLife, the negotiated rates are some of the highest in the industry, if not the highest in the industry. They're generally going to do anywhere from 35 to 50% off the normal billed rate. And so if they go in network, that's how much they get off before the insurance even kicks in. So what does that look like? I have an example for you guys. So let's say somebody needed to get a crown. The crown by itself is going to cost $1,000. That's just it may be more, maybe less. Again, this is just arbitrary numbers to give you an idea. But with no insurance, that's what they're paying. Right now, just for going in network with NCD, they can get a negotiated rate of $500. So they get 50% off of the bill before the insurance even kicks in. And now from here, this example is assuming they're in year 2 of coverage, so they're getting 50% off. It knocks another 50 off, and so now they pay 250. Let's say they're in the first year and it was only a 10% benefit, then it would take that 500, take off 10%, and they'd be at 450. Either way, they're getting more than just the 10% if they go in network because they get that strong negotiated right up front, right? So again, a lot of times when people look at dental plans, they focus a lot on the percentages and how much is exactly covered. When in reality, they should focus a lot of times on what are the negotiated rates for going in network and what's the dental network look like? Because if there's not a lot of dentists that are included and they can't find in-network rates, even if they're getting 50% off the price right off the bat, they still might be getting more by going with an NCD plan because they get a negotiated rate and they can actually find in-network dentists. So I always like to make that real clear where sometimes there's more to it than what you might think. Let's see, I did have a question. Yes, Heather did ask if we'll get a copy of the recording. Yeah, Heather, what'll happen is at the within generally 24 hours of today, we will process the recording because everything's being recorded, and we'll send it out to everybody that registered. So you will get a copy. All right. So that again, that is your dental side. That's how a lot of this stuff works. I'm gonna move on to vision side. I don't see any other questions that have come through. Oh, that was great. Oh, thank you, Heather. If you may have missed the beginning, but I'm also going to take us through the website here in a few minutes as well. So unless you have to jet, stick around. I'll take us through the website so you can get a good idea of how that works as well. All right. So moving on to the vision insurance side. So with the vision, they partner with VSP, which should be a name that you all recognize. They're probably the leading vision insurance that's out there. With this, it's very much what you see is what you get. Very black and white for everything. So what you'll see at the very top, there's if the member only, it's $22, and then it goes all the way up to 51 if it's a whole family plan. And then from there, let me kind of break it down. So $20 is what they'll pay for wellness or a well vision exam or just to get their eyes checked and everything. So $20 copay, everything else is covered. And then it's a $25 copay for materials. With the materials up to 220 with brand name frames or just up to 200 with the normal frames. And then for the lenses, that's included in that 25, but that's single, bifocal, trifocal, or impact resistant lenses for dependent children. So that's what they get there. If they want any of the enhancements, there's corresponding co-pays there, just like you kind of see. If you've ever gotten glasses, like when I wear glasses when I go, I always add 3 enhancements. Whether I need them or not, I have no idea. They tell me I need them, but I never notice a difference. But just like you're used to, you'll have those extra co-pays if you want to make them a little bit better. There's also, if you want to do contacts, that would work in lieu of the glasses. And they would do $150 for contact lenses in that situation. Now, one thing I like to kind of take you through is there's one little thing, if you look at the frequency on the right side of the screen there, is most of everything is a 12 months that they can redo it, except for frames. Frames are 24 months. So there's a couple different ways that you can have your clients go about this. So they can get their exam done when they first get the plan, get it, glasses and all that, no issues. 12 months later, though, they wouldn't be able to get new frames. But the lenses can be done every 12 months. So if after 12 months their prescription is changed, they can go get another eye exam. They can get new lenses and just put into their frames, right? They just can't get new frames. So that's the only kind of like caveat to that. Or let's say they have glasses, they're perfectly fine. I usually wear mine for 4 to 5 years before I get new ones, for instance. But let's say I want to get contact lenses. Well, year 2, rather than getting more frames since I don't need them, I just go ahead and get contact lenses year 2. And then the next year I can get new frames if I wanted. And the year after that, new contact lenses. So every year it's going to still allow me to at least get something. All right. So that's, again, not really complex with the vision side. It's very, very straightforward for the most part. And that's what you have. Commissions. So this is another thing that I really like about NCD and something that they do differently. They do a level for life commission structure. What that means? Well, I guess let me backtrack. Most carriers, when they do commissions, you're going to see what's called a heaped type of commission. What that means, year 1, you may see commissions be real high, but then year 2, they're almost nothing. They're like their peanuts are a fraction of what they were. Well, what NCD will do is whether it's year 1, 2, 3, forever, it's the same commissions that you'll always get. So they want to encourage agents to find good business and get clients onto these plans who will stay on the plans long term. And for you as an agent, because you're going to make the same commission day 1 as year 10, you're going to want to make sure you do that for them, right? So dental side, your commissions 21%. Again, for the lifetime of the policy, every month you're making 21% of whatever the premium is. On the vision side, it's a little bit higher. It's going to be 34%, but that also is going to be level for life. So if you sell a dental and vision, any commissions you start doing, you'll always make the same. So very, very exciting numbers. A lot of carriers, again, you see the 20 to 30% range, but then usually year 2, it's 1 to 2%. So this one, again, encourages you to keep your clients happy and keep them in these plans for longer because they're going to make, it's beneficial for you. All right. Well, that is about the extent of my slide deck that I have. So now let me pull up the website and really take us through what the enrollment platform looks like. All right. So this is what your first page of your portal is going to look like. Again, as you'll see, 4.9 stars out of 8,400 now is the number of reviews that are out there. So very, very high on their ratings here. So a couple things before I jump into everything here. So first off, this link right up here at the top, that is going to be something that you can put on your website. You can put on your emails. You can really put it just about wherever. And if any client were to come through here and click on your link and go to your website and enroll themselves, you still get the full 100% credit. So it's called a Pearl or a personalized URL. And what's nice is it looks prettier than this when you actually do that. So let's say I just pull up my email here. Let's say in my emails, I just want to add something like need dental insurance, NCD insurance. You see, that's what it's going to look like. So it actually kind of updates to look nice and pretty there, opposed to looking like the enrollment.ncd.com / a bunch of numbers, right? So, but yours is going to be the same thing, and these last 6 digits there are going to be your personal writing number with NCD, which you'll have if you're not contracted. Let me know. We'll get you contracted so that you'll get that number. So okay, so that's how you can really utilize this. Couple other things on this blue bar at the top. This will stay here throughout the entirety of the platform. It'll have your name, your phone number, your email address, all right here. Kevin Shields is the owner of Pinnacle, so it's kind of our dummy account with him on it. But if anybody has any issues as they're going through an enrollment, they'll have your number and your email address to reach out to you and get answers to questions. Also, they can do their vision and dental searches anytime throughout there by just clicking on these links. So we'll take a quick break and go through that. So let's go to the dental lookup. I'm in Colorado, so I'm just going to use a zip code from Colorado, and then I can look that up, right? So I'm in Colorado Springs. Within 25 miles of me, there's about 1,300 different dentists available, right? If I want to narrow that down to 5 miles, so I don't have to drive so far, still have over 500 available in my area, right? I can also search by certain specialties if I'm looking for something on that side. I can also search for them by name. So let's say I want to find Kelly Clarkson, which I did some research. That is not the singer. If anybody was wondering, that is actually just the same name. Sorry, guys. But let's say I want to look up Kelly Clarkson. I just type in Clarkson and now everything here shows up. If for any reason they don't show up, if I put something in, that just means they're out of network. So anybody that shows up is in network. If they're not, don't show up, out of network. Okay. A couple other things, just real quick, I can go to more filters. If I need to find a dentist who is actually accepting new patients, I can select that. If they care about a certain gender or certain language, I have all that as well. So all that is real easy to use, whether it's you or your clients, it's going to be all right there at your fingertips. Coming back here, vision providers, going to be very similar, but a little bit different, but same thing. I can just put in my zip code and this is going to show me all the VSP vision options. I can come here and look up the actual dentist or the eye doctor's last name if I want to, but I get a nice little list of all the different options that are going to be available close to me. So again, really straightforward, really easy to use, and not going to be complex to figure out. All right, so from here, let's jump into actually looking at the website. I'm just going to put in, again, my zip code here. I'm just going to make this person this random age here. All right, first thing you're going to do, who is this for? Member only, member and spouse, member and child, family, whatever, right? We'll just do member only. Effective date, I have 2 options. It's always going to give me the first of the following month or the first of 2 months out. So I can make that a little bit customizable. For instance, right now it's July 1st. If I selected that, they would need to set up a payment to come out before July 1st. So if you have somebody that's a little bit, on a fixed income and couldn't quite have the money ready by July 1st, I can just do August 1st, and then they have any time before August 1st to make the payment. So if you have individuals who have Social Security or something coming in and you want to make sure this gets paid out after they get their Social Security, you can set it up real easy that way. From here, we'll just put August. You can choose dental or you can choose vision. I don't need to sell a dental policy to sell the vision side. So I can make that customizable and sell whatever I need. I'm just going to select both of them just for so we can see it. From here, I continue to plan selection. And then I'm going to get all the different plans. From here, what I can actually do is I can add them to the cart, or let's say I'm not ready there and I want to compare first. I can just hit compare and it'll let me compare up to 3 options. If you do anything like Sunfire, Connecture, or any of those type of sites, you're probably familiar with that. But I'll just hit compare coverage. And now this is going to give me all 3 plans with their premiums, deductibles, calendar year max, what it's going to pay for preventative, for basic, for major, right? I get a really nice side-by-side comparison of everything so I can really make sure that I get them on the best plan possible. If I scroll down a little bit further, I'm actually going to be able to get a couple different documents actually too, where let's say I want to see a really detailed product over portfolio of everything. Well, you'll see with the complete, the 10,000, you'll see, calendar year max 10,000, 3,000 per year for implants. And then I get the actual restrictions and limitations in depth of everything, right? Also with these, you also see there's a nice little spot to add an agent name, phone number, and email. So these are great resources to have physical copies of. Leave them, with certain individuals, or if you're part of different maybe organizations that you generally handle all their Medicare or whatever, you can also kind of bring these and leave these as well, right? So you'll have the long one, or you can do a benefit summary, which is a much shorter version of it here that dives into the national wellness and fitness a little bit as well. It just gives you a quick snapshot of what you're looking at with the plan. So again, a lot of interesting stuff that you can get from right here. If I come to the very bottom, I'll see view additional NWFA benefits. And from here, it lets me know all the different really perks that come with it and who they're with and all that as well. So again, a lot of different stuff that you can kind of get. I'm just kind of more pointing out some of the different things that you can use and functionality here. But again, let's say this complete plan was the one that I wanted. I just add it. On the top right, you'll see that now there's a little 1 there. And I'll come to the bottom right and just go to vision plans now. Again, with the vision, 1 plan. If I want that 1 plan, I add it to the cart and I'm good to go. If I don't want it, I remove it and just go to review cart and go on from there. All right, so let's go to review. If this is the plan. If they're not 100% ready to make the decision, they can just send a quote. But if they are, you just go to begin application. From here, I'm just going to put in some dummy information for Mickey Mouse. I'm going to put in a dummy phone number here. All right, and then they're there. So one thing, if you look, that you might not see is you don't see a need for a social or like an I-10 number or anything like that. So it's only going to look at name and date of birth. So if you do have an individual who is in the process of getting a social security number, this is a great option for them as well, because you do not need to have a social to be able to sign them up. All right, from here, I just go to continue to review in the bottom right. It's going to give me a quick review, make sure everything looks okay. I'll continue to payment. I can do either credit card or ACH here. Oops. So either one of these, right? I'm just going to, again, make up dummy information so we can get through it. But you'll see with the billing date, because I selected August 1st, it's going to give me any time before August 1st to be able to set that up. Where if I had done July 1st, I would have to either make a payment the 29th or the 30th. Okay. From here, I continue to agreements. I would check this box and submit application, and I'm done. That's the extent of how complex that enrollment process is. 4 different pages, very basic information is all you'll really need to get through it. All right. Last thing I'm going to show us real quick is the resources page from NCD. This is pretty much once you become contracted, you'll have access to this page, and this is going to give you the full set of resources for everything. So if I come up here to resources in the top right corner, I can scroll down, and this is going to break down all the different plans. I can get an individual plan. Like, let's say I want the complete plan. I can look at single page brochures in English or Spanish. If I'm in New York or Connecticut, where the plans are a little bit different, I can get them in English or Spanish there as well. I can get the detailed overviews. If I want a look at all the plans at once for core, I can look at all the core plans. If I want to look at all the dental plans at once, I can look at all dental plans, right? So I have a lot of different ways to use these resources based off of your need, right? There's also a frequently asked section part right here where I can come in and learn some of the stuff that other people had questions about as well. So that's all going to be there as well. And finally, if I want to see a different webinar put on by NCD, because maybe you just didn't like me, no problem. You can come see. They do every Tuesday and Thursday, they do different webinars throughout the month as well. So that is all going to be there. So that's really the extent of what I had to go through with everybody today. I don't see any other questions yet, but I'll hang out here for another couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now, but I'll hang out here for maybe 2 or 3 more minutes. If you have any other questions, I'll hang out and answer anything that you might have. So let me know if you do.